Have you ever made a parenting decision and immediately wondered, did I just help or hurt my child's future? That pressure to get it right can feel very heavy on parents. I'm Nicholeen Peck, and I help parents stay calm and help them build emotionally strong families so that they can have bonding and unity for years to come. In this video, as we discuss how parents' decisions affect their children's lives, I'm going to show you what decisions matter most and why. I used to be a career woman. I actually was a dental assistant. I worked as a teller at a bank. I was at one point a counselor at a funeral home, which was what I did right before I started taking treatment children into my home. And I did this because I really wanted to be at home with my little babies. I had worked for a long time and I felt that it was time to make that transition. But as I made that decision to come home and to be with my children and to bring in now other people's children, there was a complexity that now came into my life. And these children that were coming to my home in the foster care program, or that I was expected to do treatment for because it was called treatment care, they had backgrounds filled with trauma, abuse. They had processing differences. There was a lot of neurodiversity. They were really different from me. And I realized that if I was going to hit my mark, I needed to have a plan for what to say and what not to say. And I remember one time there was a girl who came to my home. She was 14. She had some hygiene issues. And I remember that one day I said to her, I was like, ew, that is so gross. How about you just change that? And I saw something happen in her. I saw this feeling of rejection, that she suddenly didn't feel like I really cared, that I was there for her. She was questioning how much she should care. Really, I think about anything that I shared with her at that time. And I knew I had done it wrong. I knew that I did not stick to my plan that I'd made for how I was going to parent these teens that came to my home. I'd failed right in that moment. And, you know, I'm not perfect, but I did learn over many, many years how to rein myself in. And that's what I'd like to talk about today, because I think that when we say things right, when we say things wrong, it can have an effect on our children. But the most important thing isn't whether we did it right or wrong. It's the direction that we're headed. It's, do we know where we're going? Do we know what we hope to accomplish? Because if so, we can fix all the wrong things, especially when they're young and they're so forgiving. Even when they're older, they can see when you make a mistake. And if you're honest about it and you fix it and you change it and do it in a way that's more productive, they honor that. They'll respect you more because of it. I saw it happen time and time again as I was training not only my foster children, but my own children, who are now all raised to adulthood. So the most important decision that I want you to ponder is, where am I headed? What do I actually want out of all of this? What type of a relationship do I want? What type of a bond do I want? 20 years from now, what do I want this family to feel like when we get together for some family party or something? You've got to ponder that and articulate it, not just to yourself, but to your children too, because that's the end goal. This one little moment where somebody talked back to you or was disrespectful to you about doing the dishes or their homework or whatever it is, that's not the important moment. It does need to be handled, and I can help you with how to handle that, but that shouldn't get you stuck. You should remember where you're headed. And if you can remember where you're headed, then you'll also remember another important decision that you need to make, which is an identity decision. It's, Who am I? I've written 15 books. Here's 2 of them. This book here is probably my most popular book. It's called Parenting a House United. And it teaches parents how to set up a framework where their children can learn self-mastery skills and where the family can be more calm in their communications. And people love it. But for years, when I wrote the first edition of this book, there were some people struggling with their children actually accepting the teaching. And this was because the parents didn't actually recognize what their role was and how to live their role as a parent, because that key piece of identity had been lost in our culture. So I had to write this book next, which is called Roles: The Secret to Family, Business, and Social Success, which is a great story, by the way, that you can read with your youth and have discussions about what everyone's roles are. Because if you don't know who you are in the family, then you start just living for the details. It's who you are that helps you stay big picture enough to get through the problems with calmness and with grace, and also with some good consistency so that you can do the teaching that's needed. But then you don't have to take things personally. That's important. Speaking of taking things personally, if you've subscribed to this channel already, then you absolutely know that everything I talk about has to do with self-government and calmness. And when a person is truly calm, they don't take somebody else's behavior personally. I know that's easier said than done, because sometimes it does hurt. You feel a person, their attack or their indifference or whatever. You can feel lonely. Those types of things can all impact your relationship and bond with a person, but you also have enough strength to tell yourself, I'm not going to take that personally. I'm going to actually drop the subject about that. So there are 4 basic skills of self-government that I teach in my TSG parenting course. And those 4 basic skills lay the foundation for all of self-government, not just for the children, but for parents too. And they are following instructions, accepting no answers and criticism, accepting consequences, and disagreeing appropriately. So accepting no answers, that second one, is the one that's going to really come in to help us as we're choosing not to take things personally when our child has a misbehavior. So when you accept a no answer, which could be, my child is misbehaving right now, so that's a no answer to me. I can't control them. Okay, because if I try to control them, I'll engage in a power struggle, right? So what do I do to help them choose to not have this behavior, but also not engage in it myself? Well, first I have to accept a no answer. This misbehavior is happening. So that's the no answer staring me in the face. I need to look at the situation, because you either look at the person or the situation. You keep a calm face, voice, and body. I need to know what that feels like and looks like for me. Then I say, okay, this is happening, or I disagree appropriately with the person or the situation if I feel like I can. In this circumstance, I would not. I would just say to myself on the inside, okay, this is what's happening. And then after that, I drop the subject. That's the 4th step. Drop the subject. Don't think about it anymore. Don't talk about it anymore. Don't react to it. So instead, I'm going to now give myself an instruction of what to do. And I'm going to use one of my parenting skills. So there are 5 skills for parenting that I use, but I'm going to start with a correction in a situation like this. My child knows the words to it. I know the words to it. There's nothing emotionally manipulative here. It's very predictable, and it helps them get back on track for what they need to do. They remember, oh, yep, that's right. I need to make a choice right here. And if not, then I'm going to probably be choosing this negative consequence, because that's how the framework is all set up. Another decision that's going to be vital for you is deciding to stay the course. We get a lot of good ideas, right? We learn a new recipe, we try it once, we forget about it. That happens in regular life. We can also watch a YouTube video, learn one parenting tip or one parenting skill, and then move on to the next thing, and it doesn't really get a chance to stick. If you make a decision to teach your children certain skills, to teach them how to be calm, what it's like, what's going on inside their brain when they're calm, when they're not calm, how to disagree appropriately with other people and accept consequences and follow instructions and these things we're talking about, if you teach them how to problem solve and communicate effectively in that way, your child builds confidence. They're developing life skills. That one decision for you to stay the course with something will give them a skill set that they can have for life. They will see the world completely different. When my children have gone to college or when they've gotten married, they've all reached out to me and in one way or another said, "Mom, thank you." The people that I live with, my roommates, they don't have good relationships with their parents. I'm so glad that you taught us how to have a good relationship with you. That you taught us how to communicate effectively and what was not going to be effective. So we didn't waste our time with it. I'm watching my roommates just power struggle with their parents. It's so hard to see. And you know what? Now, Mom, I'm trying to help them. Or I'm trying to help my spouse now learn about calmness and be calm. This is the effect of a person who stays the course, who creates a plan and sticks to it. It gives their children security. If you're inconsistent and all over the place, your children won't learn a method that they can rely upon when they need it the most. Another decision that matters the most, maybe the very most, is to stay connected with your child no matter what. To love them no matter what. It breaks my heart as I work with families around the world on their parenting and trying to help them solve the problems in their home, to see parents give up on their children. I know a woman whose child got into some bad things in life, in his teen years, in high school, got into drugs and things with girls and partying and stuff that he should not be doing. And she said, "I trained him different. He is now such a disappointment to me." And she basically pushed him out, disowned him, because he couldn't meet her mark. What is that going to do to the child? He's going to feel like he's not good enough. We all make mistakes. We have to stay bonded to our children no matter what mistakes they make. That's more important now than ever, because social media, all the messages are telling our children they're not good enough, to self-loathe, to hate themselves, to question their worth. They have to be worth something to you, or they won't be worth something to anyone. You have to keep giving them that. That decision, no matter what, even if you have to correct them, even if you don't agree with their behaviors, even if you still have to be strong in your principles as a parent, don't ever let the love wane. Which means that when you feel yourself falling out of love with your child, you go and pray. You go and ask God for some of His love for that child. Or you make a gratitude list if you're not a praying person. That's what I did with my foster children. Every time I felt like, can I help this person with this one hard new behavior? We've been through so many. Can I handle one more? I would go and seek more love for them. Because you do have to keep doing the teaching. It's part of being the parent. But it's totally doable if you don't have to take things personal and you can love them through whatever happens, no matter what. Teaching self-government is a lot easier if you're calm. I have a calm parenting toolkit that I'd love to give to you for free. It's not a full training on my whole program, but it is a training on calmness that could be really beneficial. You'll get 10 tools for calmness. If you go to my website, teachingselfgovernment.com, right on the homepage right now, you can get that Calm Parenting Toolkit for free. So go to teachingselfgovernment.com. I'll see you there.